Hello, welcome to the Healthy Alternatives podcast. I am DocChristine Sauer with DocChristine.com. Today's show is a recording of my radio show of the same name. Enjoy! Good afternoon, this is Dr. Christine Sauer, your host of the radio show Healthy Alternatives here on 97.5 CIOE FM with live stream on communityradio.ca every Thursday at 12 noon Atlantic Standard Time. Thanks for tuning in today. In this show, I will talk mostly with guests about all aspects of health, healthcare and wellness, from conventional to alternative and everything in between. My mission for this radio show is to help change people's lives for the better by informing them about different options to get and stay healthy and well so they can choose for themselves which option might work in their case. And if you feel you are stuck in a dark place, I want to tell you, don't give up. There's a light at the end of the tunnel for you too. I'm often asked to give a little bit more in-depth information about different health topics. I'm happy to oblige. Today, my team member Jennifer, fellow health coach, and I will be talking about what we can do for brain health and mood support.
Brain health, you say?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say how important is our brain, because obviously if we didn't have a brain,
we wouldn't live.
Well, exactly. But how is nutrition, I guess, important for our brain?
It's not just nutrition, but since I worked with Dr. Amen as a Amen Clinic certified brain health coach, I really learned that we have to fall in love again, but not with some man or woman, but with our brain. And the reason is that people that have a better brain have a better life. They make better decisions. They have better relationships because they're not moody, upset, irritable. They have better jobs because they make better decisions. They have better finances because they make better decisions. All the decisions are made in the brain, actually in the frontal lobe.
Makes sense.
And Dr. Amen always says, and I love him because he is so funny, he says, we are in a war for our health. And it's really true, because whenever you go out, what do you see? Junk here, toxins there.
That's true.
We are besieged by junk food companies and cheap food.
Exactly.
And toxic thoughts and lots of stress and a hectic life and distractions on social media.
Exactly. I was just going to mention social media. Yep.
So we are in a constant war and a battle for our health.
It's true.
And Dr. Amen says, and I agree, the war for our health is won or lost between the ears.
That's a good one.
The only way you have a good life and a long life is when you have three things in place.
Okay.
You have to have good nutrition. You have to check if your brain may be infested by ants.
What? So you're telling me there's ants in my brain?
Sure. Ants
I think anyone know a number for a good exterminator?
Well, we might be able to help. And ANT actually is an acronym. It stands for Automatic Negative Thoughts.
Ah, okay.
And I love the analogy because really we have to exterminate the ants in our brain.
It's true. That's true.
What do we think about ourselves? We are mean to ourselves. We say to ourselves, oh, I'm stupid. Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
I can't do this.
I must do that.
Yeah.
So what we need is an internal ant eater for the different types of ants. Just like in nature, there's carpenter ants, there's those little ants, there's fire ants. Hey, our automatic negative thoughts come in different categories.
Okay. So what can we do to get rid of these ants?
Well, we have to have an internal ant eater.
Okay.
And the way it works is, and many people will know that with the boring name, I must say, cognitive therapy. You basically first you have to notice your thoughts. You have to notice how mean you are yourself. You say things to yourself that you never would tell your best friend.
That's true. Yeah.
Write them down. Many people try to talk back to their brain and their thoughts
Okay.
in their mind. Don't work. Write them down and then ask yourself, is that true? And your first response was, yeah, it is true. I am stupid. I couldn't figure out that computer program. Second thought, are you 100% sure that it's really true? And then
Okay.
you say, maybe the computer programmer made a mistake. So there's other options. What's the opposite? I'm really smart and I'll figure that out.
Exactly.
How does that make you feel compared with the first thought?
Well, much better.
That's right. So why not think the second thought?
So some positive self-talk.
Right, but on paper?
Right.
And it's important that we realize we don't have to believe every stupid thought we think.
No, exactly. That's our ego coming into play.
That's where the brain comes in. We have choices.
Yep, for sure.
And the choices are made in your brain. And the third point, besides the physical part and the mental part, is a spiritual part. If you don't have a connection
Exactly.
to your purpose, whether it be a spiritual purpose or a physical purpose or some stupid purpose or some really nice purpose like serving your community or being the best parent you can be, being an excellent mother or the best you can be. Nobody's really always perfect. Nobody's perfect.
No.
We just expect it from ourselves. That's a source of many, many pain.
Right.
So really,
we
that's-
need to be more mindful and
Yeah.
and do things of a more spiritual nature to connect.
We have to know why we want to live. If you're in a state where you say, I don't know who I am, I don't know why I want to live, I just sit on the Chesterfield and watch TV and let them dictate what I think. And then you say, oh my God, did you hear about that earthquake? Oh my God, did you hear about that flood? Yeah, really?
Right.
I mean, if it's not your neighbor that is affected, you can't do nothing about it.
No, that's right. It's way out of our control.
And it influences you to think thoughts. And how does it make you feel when you think, oh my God, another flood? You start feeling bad for those poor people that died.
Exactly.
How do you feel?
Depressed.
Depressed? Miserable? And it's even worse when all you can think of is exercising your thumbs.
Right.
On a video game, it's sad.
Right.
Or on the remote.
We need to get up and actually do some real physical exercise.
Yeah. What do you recommend? I mean, you're experienced as a health coach. What do you like in exercise and what do you think we should do?
Well, when it comes to mindfulness, things like yoga, Tai Chi are really good. But if that's not your cup of tea, just if going out for a walk or if you run, anything of that nature. Like it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go play a competitive sport or anything along those lines. Just whatever gets you moving.
Yeah. And I like that. And I'm doing Tai Chi. That's my favorite. I'm not particularly keen about yoga. Too many
Okay.
back bending. It's hard for my back.
Right.
But I know you love yoga.
I do,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, and it is just as beneficial. Tai Chi is maybe a little bit more balance oriented. But
Right.
yoga is too. I
Yeah.
tried it and I wobbled around. Not a pretty sight, but there will be videos of that. The warrior pose is hard
Right.
to keep.
Right. Yeah. And
But in Tai
yeah,
Chi,
that's
it's the
whole-
same. And I hope we'll get a video from Tai Chi soon. That will be more fun.
Right.
I have one. It's miserable. It's on Facebook.
Of Tai Chi?
Yeah, WTF exercise. The first video I did.
Oh my goodness.
No, I have it on YouTube, actually. I said
have to
it's
watch that
miserable,
one.
but there's a cat, so I better post it on YouTube.
Oh,
Nobody
okay.
watches it, thank God. I don't recommend you do. But it's a beautiful cat. That's the only positive on that video. And it's important that you do some exercise that is different. Don't do the same thing every day.
No,
And
switch it up.
Yeah, switch it up. Do something that you enjoy, but don't play a sport that puts you in risk of a brain injury.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense to do boxing or even worse, ultimate fighting. The only goal is to destroy the other person's brain and consciousness to knock him unconscious.
Right.
Now, how miserable is that for human beings? I thought we are out of the barbaric age.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's called a sport, not in my books. It's just as brutal as the gladiator games in the circuit in Rome. But people like it. Everybody the same. But then they can't be surprised when they have a bad life.
That's right.
Make bad decisions. Now, people that know me know that I have a special connection with my brain, overcoming mental health and physical health.
Right.
And we all struggle with making better decisions for ourselves. So what do you recommend? Is it better to say, oh, today is January 1st. I'll change everything at once?
Definitely not. Never a good idea, because you just don't end up sticking with it. You put too much pressure on yourself.
It sets you up for failure.
It does.
So that's really good. And I think a health coach like yourself is very necessary to help you make just small changes, encourage you, hold you accountable, so you actually stick to it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Small steps. You don't need to go out and do anything drastic. You don't have to, change your diet and say, okay, I'm gonna cut out all wheat or whatever. And
it's
you
hard
don't have
to
make
do.
drastic
It's
changes.
hard to do.
That's right. It is hard to do.
And when you look at all the temptations, then what do you do when you're in a restaurant?
Well, you gorge.
Fortunately, there's very few people that really can't eat gluten. They have a hard time.
Exactly. Yeah, it's getting better when it comes to gluten. There's a lot more gluten-free options out there, and people that do have serious illnesses like celiac do have more choices now than what they never had choices like 10, 20 years ago.
That's true. That is a good thing.
So
but there's still a lot of gluten-free junk.
There is. Just because something is gluten-free doesn't necessarily mean it's good. You still need to look at all the ingredients and check how much sugar is in there.
And sugar is gluten-free.
Well, it is, but it's still no good.
No, candy is gluten-free.
Exactly.
It's no good.
Yeah, I love that they put on gummy bears. Gluten-free.
Gluten-free. Well, we'll talk in the second half of the radio show a little bit more about what we can do nutrition-wise, because I know you really know a lot about it, and what we can do behavior-wise to help our brains function better, make better decisions. Please tune in after the commercial break for more about how to help your brain and get to love it. And we'll see you in a moment. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to Healthy Alternatives here on 97.5 CIOE FM or on the web at communityradio.ca. I'm your host, Dr. Christine Sauer, and today I'm with my fellow health coach, Jennifer Gauguin, and we are talking about why and what we can do for brain health and mood support. Now, in the first half, we talked a little bit about general, what we need. Now, let's talk a little bit about food, because I know you're really good knowing what to eat to keep well.
Okay, so big things when we're talking about having healthy brains are vegetables, of course, greens, really, really good, foods that are nutrient-rich, high in vitamins, minerals, things like organic meats that are grass-fed, eggs, same thing, like free of antibiotics.
Eggs.
Yeah, exactly. Fish oil, very important as well.
Now, what fish can we eat? Because there's a discussion about salmon. I don't want to get into that, but
Right.
I prefer to choose little fish. Is that right?
Well, yeah, some of the fish that are lower on the food chain. So ones like sardines, mackerel, herring.
Ah, good. I can have my salmon gundi. And sardines are even good if they're in the can. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. What about Gaspro? Many people like to eat them. I think they would be good.
To eat what?
Gaspro?
Gasparo.
You don't know?
No, I'm not familiar.
You should ask my husband. That's those little fish. They are full of bones, but if you marinate them, the bones get dissolved and you actually get some calcium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my husband likes them. I'm not too keen on fish, but it's good for you.
Right.
If you're not eating fish or you're not eating enough, there are supplements, but you have to choose a good one.
Exactly, the omega-3s. Yeah.
Yeah, not all omega-3s are made the same.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. That's important. And many people will have thought, well, that's what everybody says. We should eat more vegetables. Yes, and why is that? Because our brain, what's good for our brain is also good for the heart, is good for the body, and it's good for your sex life.
There you go. What more could you want?
That's right. Because many men that have erectile dysfunction really don't have a problem with their brain or penis. They have a problem with their blood vessels.
Okay.
That can be a sign that you should work on it.
Ah, all right. Makes sense.
Hey, and who doesn't love it when they do something that's good for his brain and good for their relationship?
Exactly.
Hey.
It's a win-win.
Win-win. And good for heart health. So what else can we do?
Vitamins. So vitamin B is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And vitamin D, of course, especially for us in northern parts.
Mm-hmm.
The sun is not as strong as it is closer to the equator, so that's
one thing,
lacking.
But we are in the house all the time too.
That's right.
Or in the office, and we hardly get any sun.
That's right. So everyone pretty much needs vitamin D in our part of the country.
Yeah, I would say even those who work outside probably need it because there's not much, but there's a good test. And vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, so it gets stored if you take way too much for a long time.
Okay.
There have been studies, even 100,000 units for a while is okay for people that are deficient. But that can only be done under doctor supervision.
Exactly.
Because there are risks to high-dose vitamin D, especially when it's not part of, my favorite saying, the supplement orchestra.
Right, exactly. So we talked a little about the good foods, but I think we should take a minute and just talk about the bad foods. So sugar, of course.
I can't eat sugar.
You can eat sugar. Just try to stay away from your regular white refined sugar.
Are you saying I shouldn't have birthday cake? I think that's what we have to say. It has not only sugar, refined flour.
I know.
It has all those icing. It's mostly trans fats or
it's
modified
so good.
fats. Oh.
No, you can have some. You just can't eat it every day.
Well, maybe a tiny sliver. Not the whole cake.
Exactly. Best forms of sugar really are natural forms. So in my house, I've substituted the white refined sugar for coconut sugar, which is really similar to brown sugar in a way. And it's the same like ratio as regular white sugar. Maple syrup, honey.
What I
good
like
substitutes.
now more and more is stevia. And you can get it now, the liquid stevia in different flavors.
Yeah.
And I added some to my drink, and actually it tastes good. The dark chocolate one, there's a toffee one.
I didn't know that. I haven't tried those.
Oh, I tried them, and what I do sometimes is I make myself a drink. I take a little organic lemon juice, put a few drops of liquid stevia in it, the unflavored, and it is actually a good lemonade without sugar.
Oh, I should pick some up.
Yeah.
I think stevia is one you have to be careful with because you can get some not so great. I picked up one at a grocery store one time and it was in little packets and it was terrible.
Yeah, that can be processed and all, and there are certain brands that I prefer that are proven relatively good, and it's actually tasty too. And there's nothing else in it, and it's not very denatured. It's purified.
Right.
But did you know we can actually grow stevia in our garden?
Really?
Here in our...
Because it is an herb.
It's an herb.
Yeah.
We can grow it.
So if we were to grow it, how would we use it?
Just pluck off the leaves, let them dry, pulverize them in the blender, and add it. It may have a little aftertaste, but it's all pure, organic, nothing on it.
I'm going to do that next year.
Yeah, take pictures, let us know.
Good idea.
I tried it at home, but I'm not a good planter because I neglected, I think, to water it. Yeah.
That's a problem.
Now, what should we not eat besides sugar and white flour because it turns to sugar in our mouth?
Exactly. So there's a lot of talk on carbs lately, of course, especially with like the diets, different diets that are out there, that paleo and those ones.
Yeah, those are low carbs, and it's not for everybody, but some people really can lose a lot of weight on it.
You just have to be careful with the type of carbs you're eating, and you can also look at the fiber. Like if you're eating something that has a label, like something that's packaged, you can check the amount of fiber that's in there, because that can help with the digestion of the carbs so that they don't just turn to sugar and go right in the bloodstream. But simple versus complex carbs. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, simple carbs are really something to avoid.
Right.
The typical simple carb is sugar or white flour. And white flour gets broken down in our mouth by the enzyme amylase that we have in our spit and our saliva. And that's why when we eat something that's not good for us, like white bread, it turns to sugar in our mouth.
Right,
It tastes a little sweet. That's why it's so famous and so wonderful, people think.
Well, that's why it's called Wonder Bread.
Yeah, no wonder people are sick.
That's right.
And there's still people eating it. Yeah, I know of somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in my family, I hate it, but he likes it. So I can't tell other people what to do, but I choose to eat it as little as I can.
Yep.
And complex carbs, I prefer the one from vegetables.
Right.
Those are the best carbs you can get. They have nutrients in them, and they're better than just a fiber supplement, which is good.
Right.
But it's better to get the fiber from your food.
Exactly.
And even what's called 100% whole wheat bread. Sometimes when you look at it, the first ingredient is enriched white flour.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Just don't buy it.
No.
What are your thoughts on fruit when it comes to carbs?
I like fruit. There are certain fruits that people that are carb sensitive can't eat.
Right. Exactly.
But it's interesting too that certain fruits have resistant starch, like unripe bananas.
Okay.
Whereas when the bananas are ripe, like we like to eat them, especially in banana bread, are high in sugar.
Right.
And then you put extra sugar in it and have that very yummy banana bread.
Right.
Really a lot of poison in it.
Yep.
Like birthday cake, we shouldn't have it every day.
Right.
Same with dried fruit. And you have to be careful even when you buy something and it says no sugar added. Look what's in it. Sometimes it's concentrated grape juice.
Yep.
That's sugar. That's syrup.
It is. It is.
So it's all natural, but it's syrup.
It's still,
So not all that's natural is good for you. Actually, the strongest poisons are natural.
That's true.
Aflatoxins and mold that's on peanuts often. Even those that we eat in the shell.
That's
even
right.
Peanuts are the biggest source of aflatoxin. It can kill you. It causes liver cancer. It's interesting.
It is.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. Mold toxins affect the brain. Even EMF, we are in a radio station. Some people can't have it.
Right.
Electromagnetic frequencies.
That's right.
There's a lot to it, and I'm looking forward to sharing more of that. And
that's right.
Hearing more about your thoughts, how we can mitigate it. Because there's many things about it. And
I've been turning my Wi-Fi off at night. Well, on my phone.
Good.
Not the in the house, but
yeah. And there's still a connection, whether it's a cause or not, between brain cancer and current very common cell phone use, especially in kids.
Exactly.
Well, that's all we can say today, and that brings me to the end of today's show. Thank you so much, Jen, for coming on the show and
Thanks
having
for
fun
having
with me.
Always a few good laughs.
Yeah. And please don't hesitate to contact us with any questions, thoughts, comments, or suggestions. My email here is christine@communityradio.ca, or contact me through our website, DocChristine.com. And I'm always grateful for your feedback. I also want to extend a special thank you to today's producer, Georgina Fitzpatrick. Thanks, Georgina. Thank you all for listening to Healthy Alternatives. I'm your host, Dr. Christine Sauer. Tune in next Thursday at noon on 97.5 CIOE FM Community Radio with live stream on communityradio.ca for the next episode. Goodbye and have a great day.